the next level this year. 30 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions.
And he was dancing, too. You saw the dance.
The dance really got us just there.
Yeah.
What was the dance all about again?
I started in the locker room beforehand. I said, guys, we got a run play in for me today, and if I score, I want to have something ready. And Adam Thielen said, we did something back at Mankato State. We call it the dead arm dance.
Yes.
We just kind of hang out like this at the parties.
You nailed it.
I said, well, let's do that. So they all joined in. It was a lot of fun.
I thought maybe it was your effort at flossing, I'm not even going to do it myself.
Wow.
Glad that it wasn't that.
No, totally different dance. Totally different dance.
A poor effort. We were just talking, you flash back to last year, right around this time, you're getting ready to live with the in-laws here, where was Alpharetta, Georgia, right nearby, while waiting for free agency. How much of a different offseason is it for you knowing, hey, okay, things are set, and now we're heading into the second year in Minnesota?
Well, my agent's Mike McCartney, and this is the first offseason in a while where I'm not talking to him every week. Usually I'm on the phone getting updates. Where are we at? What are we doing? What's the best plan of attack? And this offseason, I'm just sitting here enjoying it, knowing April 15th I'll be back in Minnesota. And I think that is a good thing. I think that's going to help me get ready for the 2019 season and be at our absolute best.
You just dodged the polar vortex out in Minnesota. Like how was that?
Right?
How was that first year just adjusting to everything?
Well,
there?
actually, December was really mild. I kept looking at my wife, and it would be like 25 degrees. I get up in the morning, I'd be like, this isn't bad at all. Like, I grew up in Michigan. We can do this. Get to late January, early February.
Cold,
I saw a text that said it was negative 25 in Minnesota and negative 24 in Antarctica. So,
Wow.
Talk about your first season with the Minnesota Vikings, man. It had to be a tremendous amount of pressure. You just got paid. They went to the NFC Championship game last year, so really the only thing better would be playing in the Super Bowl. Just talk about that pressure that you had to face this past season.
Well, pressure's a part of the game. You guys played. We're all under pressure. Whether you're making league minimum and you're the 53rd guy on the roster, you're the starting quarterback, well paid. We're all fighting. And certainly that was a part of this year. And the expectations were high. And the fact is we didn't deliver. We didn't even make the playoffs. So it was disappointing. I'm frustrated. It's been a tough January for me to sit at home and watch the playoffs and know that we underachieved. But after this game Sunday, you flip the script and you look forward to 2019, and hopefully you can right the ship, and that's certainly where our focus will be.
Kevin Stefanski returns as your offensive coordinator. You've got Gary Kubiak. You've got some other changes on the offensive coaching staff. What do you think you're going to see from this offense? What do you need to see from this offense and to build throughout the offseason?
Well, I'm excited about Kevin. Certainly excited about bringing Gary in. Clint Kubiak, his son, will be the new quarterback coach, and I think it'll be a good staff. I think they've got a good plan. Losing Coach Sprono last year, right before training camp, his passing, that wasn't ideal. That made it tough. And so I think having a staff that hopefully can all be on the same page starting in April all the way through, that should really help. And just having built a rapport with teammates. Steve is a receiver. To be able to work with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen now for an entire year and have that year of experience to now going to 19, I think that's going to help us from hand signals, audibles, little things that just come in with time.
With the changing offense coordinators and now adding Gary Kubiak, do you imagine there will be some shift of an offensive philosophy possibly?
I think there's subtle changes. I played in Kyle Shanahan's system, and he obviously was an offensive coordinator for Gary Kubiak, and I know you were, Cube was there, I believe, in 14 in Baltimore when you were there, so you know that system. And I think it's any changes are going to be for the better in the sense anything he thinks he can bring that'll help us in the run game and the play action game. I think some of those details will be a nice improvement, but at the same time, Kevin knows what he's talking about. He's been around some really good coaches in this league, and the players really trust him and work well with him.
I always ask the guys when we have up here, I always ask them this question, and it's really one of those things that some are prepared and some aren't.
So get ready, all right?
I hope he's prepared.
So we know what you can do. We know what you bring to the table.
Sure.
Every year, you have a new habit to break. What is something that you look back at yourself in the 2018 season, going into the 2019 season, you go, I need to be better at this or need to be better at these things?
Yep. I would say winning games, which comes down to crunch time, which comes down to the last 2 minutes. If I can have better production in the final 2 minutes of football games, I think I'm going to really like 2019.
But what do you mean have better production? What was something that you did that you kind of, and I say that because there are times I turn on the film and you kind of go, oh, as a player, you just go, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. Sure. And then you watch yourself and you go, man, I've done that periodically. Every 3 or 4 games, I've made that mistake.
Yeah. Well, I make the point, because I say I feel like I'm accurate. I got a strong arm. I can make good decisions. I can, complete the football. I can avoid sacks. All those different things, create explosive plays. But I do think that you got to do it in crunch time. And I've been 500 pretty much every year I've played. No, I say it's a team game. Okay, but I've been a part of a 500 team for 4 years now, and that's getting old. And so it's got to turn here. It's got to get to 11-5, 12-4, 13-3. You got to get there, and then you got to win in the playoffs. And again, that comes down to crunch time performance. And so I just think that's where I've got to take another step, because really, if you look at the different metrics, the production's there, except for it's been accompanied with a 500 record. And so we've got to be able to turn that into more. And that's really where my focus is. But you say, well, what do I do to get there? Because you can't just snap your fingers and win the game.
It'd be great,
I do think that would be great. If you got the formula, let me know.
I'll be playing the Super Bowl right now.
But I do think that crunch time helps.
Before we let you go, you obviously know Sean McVay really well from your time when you were in Washington. So what makes him such a good coordinator? What makes him such a great coach? Just having played under him and just like the things that you learned from him.
Well, I mean, he has a charisma to him, a presence that you can't teach. You either have it or you don't. So when he stands in front of a room, guys get behind him. He has a passion for the game. He's obviously very smart. He picks things up quickly. But, he was 26 as the tight ends coach for the Redskins. He walked around like he was 55 and had been a head coach for years. I mean, there was just a confidence. One time, Mike Shanahan, they called a play, and we're up at the line of scrimmage, and Sean's the tight ends coach, and he steps out and pauses practice. Whoa. We haven't covered this with the tight ends. Coach, excuse me. And he starts coaching.
Wow.
And Mike Shanahan looks at the script and he's like, what? Like, who are you stopping practice? I'm the head coach. But that was Sean. He just has a command and a presence and a control about him that makes him a great
his
coach.
guys back. So many times, coaches, or you're in there with the play, and you're like, that wasn't in the script.
Right.
You go over that, and then the
player gets
the player, because the coach go, oh, we went over it, and the player's like, no, we didn't. Right. And you have a coach that does that, man. That's unbelievable. He stands up in front of the team. Yeah. Hey, we haven't went over this. That's dope. That is what you don't see a lot of coaches do.
I love that. Well, I feel like now, Kirk, you've sort of set your goals for next season. This was a very productive meeting. I feel like we wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for stopping